Nagaland has this Communitisation Act where a lot of sectors, I mean, electricity, education, health, the community steps in and takes responsibility, be the primary health centers or the health and wellness centers, wherever the community has held the doctor accountable for being in station. Every single indicator has seen an uptick in such places, visibly those places where the community has not been very proactive, and they took it upon themselves to feed the people in the quarantine centers for the remaining 7 days, because the state was paying for 7 days and the community paid up for the remaining 7 days.
How has that experience been with you, especially in sectors, different sectors you've worked in, and especially you were also DC at one point of time?
And the second thing that makes your work very easy, because once you convince the community, you don't have to go and convince individual folks who may or may not, support you in your decision. So it's like they have a veto power in that sense, and the moment they understand that this is what there's something that's right for the people, it's a walk in the park post that, in terms of easy implementation, seamless implementation. And
Welcome to an episode of Policy Talks, the podcast to public policy, wherein we get eminent policymakers and policy professionals to talk about different aspects of public policy. And it's a pleasure to have with us Mr. Thavaseelan today. So, Hawa is an IAS officer, 2012 batch, a very young and a dynamic officer who is doing really well in his cadre in the Northeast Nagaland, and has been an inspiration not just to the youth in the Northeast, but also to anyone and everyone who's around him. And Thawa is currently he is the secretary and commissioner to the governor, Department of Rural Development. He's also heading the state health authority, and could be many other charges that he's held over time in the state of Nagaland. So welcome to this Policy Talks, Thawa.
thank you so much. From pleasure to be here, and an honor to have this conversation with you, and thank you so much for the kind introduction, Ma.
Right. And it's also a pleasure that you were a part of our 10th batch of the MPPP program, and which is just completing now. So you would be graduating soon from the program. So it was a pleasure to have you in the class.
Absolutely, ma'am. It's one of the best courses that I've ever been a part of. Immense learning experience over the course of a year. Brilliant professors, amazing content, and great cohort. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. That's okay. So let's just begin this conversation around policy. But before we go to policy, we want to know who Thawa is. So we want to know the person behind this officer. I would like to ask you about your growing up years. What I hear and what I've seen over this time is your ambition, or else your complete inclination to excellence, and you have been doing that. Everyone has been seeing that around. Where did it come from, and what motivated you in your childhood?
Sure thing, ma'am. So I had a pretty normal childhood. I'm from Tamil Nadu. Was born and brought up in Chennai. Schooling, engineering, then usual route. I went and did an MBA from Ahmedabad, and over a period of time, I think one of the earliest sort of feelings that I had, or the experiences that I had, led me to a point where I just wanted to give my best to everything that I did, be it my personal space or my professional sphere. The results, of course, the outcomes I had no control over, but then the efforts were completely in my control. I wanted to give it my everything at all points in time. And then over a period of time, that sort of became a habit. And I think I have become very focused, and to the point where I ensure that even the smallest of tasks, I try and do to the best of my ability. So,
Very nice to know that. So, Tava, you were in the private sector after doing your MBA from IM. And then from there, you moved after a couple of years to the civil services. Why this transition? And what is it, that actually attracted you to join civil services?
Absolutely, ma'am. So my uncle was also in the IAS, my mother's younger brother. So growing up, I used to spend a lot of time with him. So, uh, unconsciously, this desire to be a part of public service was there within me. It only cemented itself over a period of time. So it was never a question of whether I wanted to become or not. It was only a question of when I wanted to get into these services. So after engineering, when I'm Ahmedabad happened, I didn't want to let go of the opportunity. So I went and did my master's. Then when I saw the rest of my batchmates were working, I didn't want to give up on my job as well. So I was working in the private sector and preparing simultaneously. So I quit my private sector job and joined the IA as well. So that's how it happens. So the seed was there early on, and over a period of time, I only become surer and surer that this is something that I definitely want to do. And I mean, the path took a bit longer with the MBA happening in between, but eventually I got them. So
Right. And after entering service, you got the Nagaland cadre.
correct.
Right. A beautiful state for sure. But when it comes to a cadre and you belong to South India,
Okay.
how was it as you went to Nagaland? And especially, there is this whole apprehension about going to the Northeast, people, especially when they're not from that region.
Yeah.
So how was that, and what do you think are the advantages? And you've experienced that as an insider now for years. Can you talk a little more about?
Absolutely, ma'am. For most people in the country, Northeast is still a black box. So once I got in Nagaland, I mean, we had traveled, we were there as part of something called the Bharat Darshan, that every batch in the IS sort of travels across the length and breadth of the country. The Northeast, let's say, once you get to experience the culture, the people, once you travel in that part of the country, you really start understanding, picking up the threads about um, uh, how the history, how geography of the place has shaped its history. Netherlands, specifically, it's second home for me right now. It's been 14 years since I've been there. People are extremely warm, amongst the most hospitable people that you'd find anywhere. Again, they're very open, very welcoming. They're people who sort of have a live and let live kind of a culture. You're never constantly under the spotlight, and they're people who, once they know that you're there to work for them and your intentions are very clear and honest, they back you up to the head. They always with you, and that's one of the most beautiful things about working in Nagaland. Uh, it's been a very warm, very, very lovely experience working there. I think this is pretty much symptomatic of most part of the Northeast. And a larger picture, you sort of realize once you've gone there, people are people everywhere. The only thing that they're looking for you, and especially when you're in a position of power, that comes the tremendous responsibility. And once you demonstrate your intent, they're there supporting you all through, and life becomes a lot easier in terms of working and delivering what you're meant to do for the people.
I understand. Yes, you are very right. Yes. And in the Northeast, one more thing that I have, observed and seen is the communities. Your stakeholders are those communities, the tribal people, and they have a very, very strong affiliation. And they get involved with the policy world in a very different way as a community as such. So the decisions are collective. How has that experience been with you?
Social capital of the chats. In a certain way that makes your work very easy, because once you convince a community, you don't have to go and convince individual folks who may or may not support you in your decision. So it's like they have a veto power in that sense. So on the other hand, again, you will have to convince the community. The moment you do it, it's very straight for you, very simple for you, and pretty much every scheme, every initiative that you take up, you engage with them first, and the moment they understand that this is what this is something that's right for the people, it's a walk in the park course, that in terms of easy implementation, seamless implementation, and there is a problem at some point and they come up and solve it even before it reaches you. So that way, it's a blessing in disguise. And Nagaland has this Communitization Act where a lot of sectors. I mean, electricity, education, health. The community steps in and takes responsibility, ownership, and we've seen places where the community is very proactive. They've had excellent results on all spheres of in all sectors pretty much. I mean, if you look at schools, the kids in schools where the community has been very proactive in terms of monitoring the teachers' attendance, looking at what's happening in the classroom. The village education committees have been very active and have been holding regular review meetings. The kids have the learning outcomes are far superior than places where this has not happened. Similar situation with health. I mean, be the primary health centers or the health and wellness centers, wherever the community has held the doctor accountable for being in station. Every single indicator has seen an uptick in such places, visibly those places where the community has not been very proactive. So that way that it makes your life easier as a policymaker, and you sort of draft them into the policy making process itself. When you're consulting, they give you a lot of inputs, aspects that you might have never thought about, which then makes the policy much more robust and far more effective when implemented on the ground. So the communities have been are a cornerstone of work in the Northeast, and I think it's brilliant and very satisfying working with the communities on a whole host of problems.
Right. Yes, you are right. Communities are really, really important. And the work with communities in itself is very satisfying because that the community, when that gets empowered, automatically policy is fruitful. It's delivering. So,
Just one example, stellar example of how the community getting involved can make a lot of difference. So when we had COVID, we had a lot of people. I was in a district called Moon, which is in the northeastern part of Nagaland. So we had a very large number of people returning from different parts of the country to Moon. So the community at that point in time decided that though the state had only recommended 7 days of quarantine for people coming in, the community decided that okay, we keep them in the quarantine centers for another 7 days just to ensure we don't have a case of false positive. And they took it upon themselves to feed the people in the quarantine centers for the remaining 7 days, because the state was paying for 7 days and the community paid up for the remaining 7 days. So that was a stellar example of how they can pool in resources and augment your governance in ways you can't sort of fathom unless and until you sort of experience it.
amazing. Yeah. And you're talking of COVID. I think that was a very, very strategic point. We talk of inclusive, technology, AI at this point of time. And I'm touching upon that, starting from COVID actually, because technology played a great role during COVID. I want to understand from you that in Nagaland or in the Northeast, how do you think this technology was beneficial? Was it there? The first question. And if it was, then how was it, made use of? And then even subsequently, have there been interventions where you are using technology, AI, digital governance for the day-to-day activities that are happening?
Absolutely, ma'am. So Mohan incidentally won the National League Governance Award for using technology as an aid to administration during COVID. So we had deployed a suite of tools when it came to COVID. The first was when people had to stay back home, so there was an obvious issue in terms of their livelihoods. So what we started with a simple initiative with the churches council in Mon district. So what we did was people could place their orders on WhatsApp. So the villages were still producing crops, but they could not sell their vegetables and fruits and everything else that they were producing. They were not earning money, so it was causing a lot of distress. So we have a dedicated WhatsApp number where people could just place their order on WhatsApp, and we got it home delivered, so that people they're still getting what they need for preparing the food, and those whose livelihoods were affected, that got a fillip. They got a fillip. We kept this initiative running for quite some time. We were delivering gas, we were delivering water, and a whole host of items that the people needed but weren't able to access because of the lockdown. Through simple WhatsApp messages, in spite of all the constraints around connectivity. In terms of the IT infrastructure that's available, we were still able to successfully use several of them to manage COVID in a way that kept the mortality rates extremely low, and we were able to successfully come out of it with minimal damage to the people. Uh, Post my stint as a district collector, so I had moved in to the Department of School Education. I was the principal director of school education, and there's one specific initiative that I wanted to talk about. So, a lot of teachers, for various reasons, were not necessarily present in their locations, and were deploying someone else to teach on their behalf. So we had developed a facial recognition based system called the teacher attendance monitoring system, and this is a part of a World Bank funded project in Nagaland, and it's now running successfully. So this has ensured that the teachers are not only there in the station, they're also actively delivering the lessons. So that's been a very satisfactory initiative.
Yeah, some of these technological interventions can definitely help. Absolutely. You are now in the State Health Authority. Can you talk about just maybe very briefly about interventions in the Northeast again and in Nagaland, wherein, because health is something that's really important. You did touch upon it during your COVID talk and discussion. But again, there might have been interventions that you're doing at this point of time. And how are they, what kind of interventions are they? Are they different from what is being rolled out across the country, or is it supplementing what is being offered by the government of India?
Sure, ma'am. So, the host of initiatives that we've taken up, so we administer the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana alongside a state scheme called the Chief Minister's Health Insurance Scheme. Ideally, I mean, we divided into three stages. One is, can we get to a point where people don't even need hospitalization? Should they have a problem? Can we intervene much early and ensure that they don't even need to get to a hospital? So the insurer has an app which facilitates free telephonic consultations with specialists, especially in the local language as well. English is an option, so that if someone feels that they're not well and that they need to get to a doctor, they can make use of this free service. So that's sort of on the preventive side. So once you get admitted, so we have a dedicated call center team. While the patient is admitted, so we've deployed AI ML solution. The insurer has done it with a firm called Heaps AI. So what they typically do is they run an algorithm. They have an AI ML model that they've trained to figure out if a person gets admitted for this particular condition, these are the expected number of days. So if not, then there's an automatic trigger, and then you follow up with the hospital as to why is this person being admitted for longer than expected, just to be sure that no one's gaming the system, and no one takes up practices which they're not supposed to do.
No, thank you so much. I think amazing insights from your some of your positions and postings that you've held.
Thank you.
But importantly, before we end this discussion, there are a lot of youth right now who are wanting to enter the policy space. This could be in the in the private sector also, because right now there are a lot of opportunities there, or it could be, of course, in the government. What is your message to this youth who are wanting to enter into the policy space in terms of what to expect here and what should be their inclination while they are seeking something or wanting to do something in this space?
Right, ma'am. So I think the first is simply going to be the interest. I mean, you need to be really interested in working in the space, because unless the interest is there, everything else is going to be uh, not so easy. So that's the first thing. The second is explore different policy spaces. Try and understand which is a space or area you'd like to work into. Of course, I mean that wouldn't become very clear until you explore different policy options, sectors, areas that you would like to work in. and then specialize. I mean, read a lot, try and understand. I mean, talk to practitioners, because there's nothing that substitutes ground level experience and speaking to people who've been there and done that. Take up courses. AIM Triple P is a brilliant course that you can explore. I mean, if you're interested in the policy space. Um, and then try and specialize, because there's a lot of impact that can be done, because the government needs people who are interested and have the passion to make a difference in different spheres. The opportunities are limitless. It's up to you as to picking up something that you're interested in, and then going the whole log and giving it your best. So that would be it. Figure out where you want to work in, and then give it your everything.
Thank you, Tawak. Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you. You are such a young, bright civil servant.
Thank you.
We wish you the very best, and I'm going to see you in holding different portfolios, different positions over years, and you will always be our, wonderful student, and we'll be proud of you as you will be an alum soon.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It's been an honor, and a special thanks to you for being such a great mentor to the entire cohort. It's been a brilliant learning experience at ISV, and we will miss coming back for the residencies. But then we sure we'll be in touch with all of you for guidance and blessings as time goes by.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you
Thank you.
so much.